Hey, this is John Madel with another episode of the Porch Show, coming to you from the front porch. I just have a story for you. I hope it's not too long. So when I was 19, I was dating a girl and we lived in Dayton, Ohio. And the drinking and gambling age in Canada, Windsor, Canada, which is like 3.5 hours from Dayton, was 19 years old. So me and the girl I was dating decide we're going to go to Windsor. We're 19. We're going to drink and gamble legally and have a good time. So we saved up our money, booked a nice hotel room. Back then the exchange rate was 20 US for 30 Canadian, so it was pretty good. So both of us are stoners at the time, so we only brought enough stuff to last us to the border because we didn't want to cross the border with anything. So, we're driving up I-75 to Canada. And we get to Canada, no problem. We cross the border. You don't need a passport or anything at the time. So we get to our hotel room, everything's fine. We only brought a little money to gamble with. But we go right to the casino. And there's like a bar, it's real nice, and me and this girl I'm dating sit down at these two machines right on the end. We didn't bring that much to gamble with because we didn't have that much money, but we accidentally sat down at like these higher stakes video poker machines. And we didn't really realize they were high stakes poker machines. They weren't that high stakes. It was like $5 a hand. So we're playing and we don't really, we're just there to have fun. And one of us hits like a $500 hand. And we're like, oh, this is sweet. Like, I guess we'll just keep playing a little more. And then another one of us, the other one hits a $500 hand. Well, we continue like back and forth. We're just killing these machines. And we're drinking, we're getting drunk, whatever. And we walk out of there. The first couple hours we're there, we walk out with $2,500. So we call our jobs. We make up some story about they won't let us cross the border. We take 2 more days off work. We pay cash for 2 more nights at our hotel. And so whatever. So now we're loaded. We have all this money in Canada. So we're like going to arcades and bars and eating French fries with gravy and doing Canadian stuff. Going to bingo halls. And like I said, we were stoners at the time. So we were like, oh, let's go into this place that sells like papers and pipes and stuff and just look around. So we go to this place, I forget what it was called, like Half Moon Cafe or something. And we're looking at papers, different flavored papers to roll joints with. And there's an old man behind the counter and he's like, oh, are you interested in those? And I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, but, we don't have anything to put in those papers anyway, if you know what I mean. And he's like, I can help you out with that. And I'm like shocked. Like I had heard stories about Canadian quote unquote stuff. So he's like, give me 100 Canadian and come back in an hour. And I don't really trust this guy, but we had so much money. I was like, I don't know. He kind of looked trustworthy. So I'm like, all right. And I gave him 100 Canadian. And I came back in an hour. Totally hooked us up, and everything went fine from there. So Now we have all this cash in Canada. We're smoking, whatever. And it gets towards the end of the trip, and we have some of this Canadian stuff left. So we watched some stupid show on TV about if you're going to bring it over the border to put it in a shampoo bottle, like one that's like not clear so you can't see through it. So we pick out this generic looking pink shampoo bottle, and we like wrap the stuff up real good, stick it in the shampoo bottle, and put it in our luggage in the trunk. So, I mean, we're pretty much idiots. Like I said, we're 19, and we're coming home. We're about to cross the border, and our car gets flagged to get searched. And me and the girl I was with was just look at each other like, oh shit. So they make us wait in this little booth with these customs agents who really don't like us. And the dog, like, the drug sniffing dog went by the car, and like the dog didn't bark or anything, so we were like, oh cool, we're in the clear. But then the customs guy pops the trunk, and we're just like, oh shit, like, what even happens, like, if you're crossing the border with green stuff or whatever? So he's looking in the trunk, and we're like, oh great. He opens our luggage, and he calls one of his buddies over. We like see him motioning, we can't hear anything. And they both point in the trunk and start laughing. And then, like, they call more of their buddies over, and they start laughing too. And then they close the trunk, and then they tell us we can proceed to the United States and go home. But when we got out of this little telephone booth, we were like, what were they laughing at? So we open our luggage, and it's like open because they like ransacked it. And there was like this big tub of Vaseline and a box of condoms right next to each other. And I guess they thought that was hilarious. And like, for the record, those two aren't related. But anyway, that's my wild story about going to Canada. The custom agents just laughed at us and let us go home, and I didn't check the statute of limitations, but hopefully I'm going to get away with it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Check out my YouTube channel, John Madel, The Porch Show. I didn't want to have to bring that story out, but my ratings are going down. So I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time.